Can you see me? Can you hear me? So, finally, I think we're live. Yes, we are. We are live. Okay. I'm not getting audio.
Yes, we are live. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to RCLabBotics Mini Airshow 6. Sorry it took me so long to get on board, but here we are now, finally. Today, we are building a Black Hornet UAV. I'll show you how you can build your own Black Hornet UAV from common materials you'll find in your own home and a common radio controlled helicopter you've probably had in your own home, which is this. It's a Pico Z or Pico Z copy. I'm sure you've probably got one of these in your home. Or something along these lines. These were big around about, I'd probably say it was about 2008 to around about 2015. These were massive. Everyone had these on Christmas Day. So I've got a few of these kicking around. A lot of them are broken. This is the only one that's working. So today we're going to try and make this into a Black Hornet UAV using common materials, either foam board, cardboard, or we can also use card paper if you like. So yeah, I think the first thing we need to do is get building. So here's a little surprise that we have for later on in the stream. So I'll show you them a little bit later. I'll just check that we have audio. Do we have audio, guys? Yeah, I think we do. Brilliant. Nice one. Okay, so the way that I got the scale for my Black Hornet UAV was this, just my laptop screen. So I went on Google and I took a picture of the Black Hornet UAV, and I thought, right, what we need to do is, scale this around. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be scaling this up, creating some more templates. I've got a few more models down here that we can make the templates for the Black Hornet of. What I don't want anyone to do is to do what I'm about to do, and I'm going to take a piece of A4 paper, stick it over this when it's the right scale, and draw around it. I don't want you to do this because I don't want you to break your laptop screen. This is a very, very old laptop. So yeah, I don't want you to put your laptop screen in jeopardy. So don't do what I'm about to do, but that's how I get the scale for my Black Hornet. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a template, and then later on I can scan them on my scanner and I can upload them to the internet. So if anybody wants to download and just save the templates, they can print them off on an A4 sheet, cut round them with some pieces of scissors, and yeah, just print them straight onto a foam board and then cut round them with an X-Acto knife. So that's the first thing we need to do. So this is basically how I got the scale. I took our Black Hornet. I'll shoot that round. Now you can see there, we need to line our main gear up with this, and then we basically either zoom in or zoom out until we get the right scale of where we want to be. That's too zoomed out, so we did have a smaller one. Where's the smaller one? It's there, right. That's around about there. So we get that, we can get the profile. And another Black Hornet, which I wanted to try and make. We've got an hour here to try and make this Black Hornet. I've also got one of these. A lot of you got these kicking around in your house. These were Blade MCPXs, I think they were called. I'm going to try and make 3 different scales. So I'm going to try and make a scale for this, because I'm sure a lot of you have got, a few of these coaxial helicopters lying around your house. We're going to make one scale for the Pico Z or the Pico Z copy. And then also we're going to try and make, if I can find on the internet, I know a lot of people have got Blade CPs, the fixed pitch normal ones with the single rotor on the top. We'll try and make the same size of them, and then we'll make them into 3 different size templates, and then we'll upload those to the internet. So if you've got one of these helicopters and you've got a spare micro FPV camera kicking around, where's my FPV camera? It's kicking around somewhere. There it is. If you've got one of these micro FPV cameras kicking around, sure, you can solder this up to the battery or put a separate battery in, and you can make yourself a little FPV UAV, military style UAV. We'll pop that aside for now. This was the original design. This was the original template, if you can see that. It's not showing up any of the lines on it. There is lines going across. But yeah, this was the original template. where these show our center of gravity and our center of mass, and also where our gears need to go, because you need to cut a hole out for your gears. So we'll get started straight away as soon as we can. We've only got an hour to do this, but I'm pretty sure we'll be able to do this in an hour. So we built that for that scale, and then we've already got the template down there for that. Yes. So I reckon we could make that a little bit more. You just zoom up a little bit. That looks perfect. That looks perfect scale. We'll just try that now. This is going to be the collective, you know, the coaxial pitch version. And that's where we want, and then we'll have plenty of room for our camera up the front and our separate battery around the inside. Let's just quickly draw around that. Yeah, you don't need to do this. This part is just for me, and then later on I'll upload the templates to the internet. If you are going to do this, be very, very gentle on your screen. Just sketch around it like that first. Then you can pop that aside. So there we've got our, as you can see, a rough sketch of a template. So we just go around that. We could do with getting something straight. I've got tinfoil in here for a reason. I'll show you that in a minute. So there we go. Just go around all the straight lines. Just to beef them out so we can see them when we're getting ready to cut. Then what we need to do what we need to do after this is get our coaxial helicopter, and we need to stick it where we want to, you know, line it up on the piece of paper. You can see that, and we need to work out where our center of gravity is, center of mass, and where the camera can fit. Where's our camera? There's our camera. If you imagine, our camera is going to go in the front there, so that needs to be below there to make room for the antenna. So make a little room for the camera to there, no problem at all. And then our battery can go around about here for the camera. Okay, so there's our rough template, and then you basically need to make sure when you get, I thought I had a ruler up here, never mind. Oops, driven over my tyre there. Right, we need something with a straight edge, that'll do. And then you make sure the main thing you want to make sure is important, that you find where you know where your main shaft is going. If you don't get this right, just the whole thing, the whole center of gravity, the helicopters need this center of gravity, need to make sure this center of gravity is definitely, you know, in the right space. If not, helicopters don't fly very well at all. We'll place it there, and then just mark that out with a pen, like that, and then just go down it with a straight line. And this is your definitive shaft bearing, if you like. This is the definitive line where your main shaft is going to go. If you don't make this line, then the whole thing's just not going to work properly. And then you want to cut that out with an X-Acto knife. Make sure that's locked on. Just like that. Just like that. Don't worry if you go over the lines. There you go. It's always best to cut outside. Sorry, do make sure you don't go over the lines. Make sure you cut on the outside of the line, and you can always just, you know, clean it up later with a pair of scissors. Just take your time. sorting our tail section out here. I don't think this tail needs to be this long, because this is obviously from the picture we have from Google. So there you go. There we have a Black Hornet template for a coaxial. So this is for the coaxial model, not the MCPX. There's the coaxial model that I've just put there. Right there. This is for the coaxial model. And once we've cut that out, you could probably have undercarriage with it yourself, or you could take the undercarriage away. And just like the Black Hornet, they take it out and it just be like that, and just have the rotor sticking out the top. You don't need undercarriage for a Black Hornet because you just sort of hand launch it like that. But there's our first template, and then we'll get our second template going, and then we'll just cut them all out, and then I'll show you how to start sticking them together. So what we want to do is find the center line on our boom and just make a line down the middle. Now, not only does this sort of help us work out where our center of mass is going to be, but also it helps us out to show us the line where our boom needs to be. Because if you don't have this line straight, basically you've got the helicopter, skew whiff inside of the model. And what this causes is either your, if you're looking at the model and you think you're trying to get the model to constantly be straight, you're never going to get it to be straight if your boom isn't straight with this line. I've got a lot of problems with the exposure at the moment. There you go. You make sure you just want to put them lines down there and make sure it's nice and straight all the way down the boom. So there we go with that. What's next? Now we need to get our original template. Start drawing around it. We got that there. We're going to go for foam board with this. So this is flight test foam board. These are just scraps that I've had lying around. You just want to try and use as much space as possible, and then just draw around it, making sure that you don't move it, because you need to make sure that these lines that you've made for your center line, for your center of mass and your center of gravity, they can't move at this point. So make sure you don't move the paper while you're drawing around it, because then you can just put a little tab at the top and at the bottom where those lines are supposed to go, and then connect them up with a straight edge. There we go. I'm very sorry I haven't got a second camera that I can see, what's down on the workbench. I hope you can see what's going on. But once we start cutting them out, and once we start gluing them, not gluing them together, sellotaping them together, sorry. We don't use glue with these because glue is way too heavy, especially hot glue. So we use sellotape, and there's the least amount of sellotape as possible. Okay. There's our template, and then we just need to make a little tab at the top where our main shaft's going to go, and at the bottom, and then draw them up with a straight edge. I like to just do little dotted lines. I don't like to do a full line down the back, just because sometimes it scores the foam. Just do a little dotted line like that. As you can see, hopefully there might be enough material here where we can, once we've cut this out, we can just invert it on the other side and then just draw around the that's something else that I would also recommend doing. Just because you've drawn around this with the template doesn't mean that if you were to draw around another piece with another template, doesn't exactly mean that they're going to line up perfectly. So what I do is once I've cut one part out of foam board, I'll just flip it over, invert it, and then draw around that part, and then you can be sure that both parts are almost identical. So we just need another straight edge. Make sure that that center line is right. That's right. Nope, that's not right. That's right there. Okay, and then just follow the center line down your boom, and then you know where your boom's supposed to be then. There we go, all the way to there. Now we'll probably be chopping a lot of this boom off because the one on the MCPX, I think it was, or the MCPX2 wasn't this long. It was pretty long, but it wasn't this long. And then we just need, I would have thought, I'm sure I brought my ruler up here, but never mind. Just going to have to use a matchbox. And what you want to do with foam board, when you cut in foam board, can I just show if we've got a scrap piece? See that? So basically, when you're cutting foam board, you want to keep your angle of your blade really shallow. So basically, if you cut like this, straight down, it's going to make a mess. But if you were to cut like this, at a 45-degree angle, see that? It just goes straight through it like butter. So make sure when you're cutting, you keep your blade at a really, really shallow angle. It basically, it shows the surface area of the face of the blade the most. Something along those lines. I'm not a blade expert, am I? I'm not a blade expert. But put the lock on that. Thank you very much for joining us here at Mini Airshow 6 again today, guys. I was very impressed with Lurgy. If you haven't checked out Lurgy's project, go and check him out on YouTube later on tonight. He made a glider from a paper airplane basically, but fold in the paper like an actual glider, and it's amazing. I actually watched the whole video, and I need to make one of those things myself. So definitely Lurgy. I'm definitely going to be building one of those things for myself, and then hopefully we can get some tiny whoop motors on it, or some cheap quadcopter motors on it. Take it for a little fly when the wind's nice and calm. Just cutting out this template. We'll go over to there, and then we'll cut that template out. Yeah. And to be fair, matchboxes aren't perfect for straight edges, but they work. A nice straight line, just not as long as a ruler. I hope to see you all at Mini Airshow 6 2021 next year, when we're all allowed back out. That should be fun. This year was supposed to be my first year going to Mini Airshow. Obviously, unfortunately, events have happened, but never mind. We've all come together to do this online thing today, so brilliant. Thank you very much for the all the guys for inviting me here today. See, if you're not sure where you haven't cut on your foam board, this is another little trick. Just flip it round, and you can see where you haven't cut, especially if you hold it up to the light, and you can see where you haven't cut right there in the corner, like that. And then it should pop straight out. Look at that. Cut this little corner out here, and there we go. Let's round that off a bit. Round that off. A bit too far then. Never mind. Okay, so there we have one side, and then we basically just need to copy this onto another piece of foam, and then I'll show you a little trick what we do next. So the next job is to start cutting around this again with another piece of foam. We've got another piece of foam that will accommodate it. That will do, but it's all bent. I cannot wait till shops reopen again and I can go and buy myself some foam. This should do. This should accommodate us. Yes, that'll accommodate us, no problem. So then you basically take your part, flip it over 180 degrees, and then just draw around your part. And then as long as you stay, stick to these lines, you'll be fine. You'll be golden. Okay. Slice that off. Here we go. Getting somewhere now. getting somewhere now. It all starts to come together. Now, for the edges of this, with the Pico Z, I wouldn't advise making any kind of edges because they can. Ah, that's where the chat. I was wondering why none of the chat was working. I'm now on the Mini Airshow 6 website, so I can see the chat happening. Has the box of matches been calibrated lately? Right. Who wants to see why I have a box of matches and tinfoil in here? Right. Because we're at Mini Airshow 6. We're at Mini Airshow 6, and I'm sure at Mini Airshow 5, there may have been some fireworks like there is at most air shows. I have some pyrotechnics. Who wants to see some pyrotechnics go off? I was sitting here watching Curry Kitten and Lurgy before, and I was building some of these little tinfoil rockets. So I'm going to set one of these off just for a bit of fun. You ready? Oh, go on. Go on. It won't go off. Tell you what, I'll use a match instead. I'll use a match to ignite a match. Here we go. This is going to go. Oh, it might be that fan. That's probably the best one I've ever done. Normally they come off in a little puff of smoke, but that one shot off. That one shot off. Wow. Right, we were here to build a UAV, weren't we? I've got another one there later that we can set off at the end of the stream. So let's see if that one scares me just as much. But so here we are. We need to start cutting around this matchbox. Here we go. Oof, smells of sulfur in it now. Probably not good. Now, hopefully we should end up with 2 identical parts. Almost. Let's have a look at those side by side. Look at that. There we go. So we just need to cut down the boom now. How far can the boom go for us? So where is our... There is our line. Stick that there. That's the front of the helicopter. That's the back of the helicopter. The swash is going to need some clearance there. Now, this is where the clever part comes in. You put a little bit of pressure. Put your helicopter down on the phone. Just a tiny bit of pressure. Nothing that's going to break it. And if you very carefully can see, there you go. The gears leave an indentation where they need to be. And then if I had my measurement stick and my ruler, I would be able to measure the diameter of that and then see how long the slit needs to be. But you can just sort of guess. Put that there. And that needs to be about there. So now we know where our slit needs to be, and we know how long the slit needs to be. Let's go and cut the slit. 2 parallel lines. 1 down, 1 down. This is so satisfying when you push these out now. Ah. If I would have cut it out properly. There you go. This will be really satisfying now. Here we go. Yes, look at that. Little gap comes out. Okay. And then we just need to mirror this on the other piece of foam board. Like that. We'll do it both sides. We'll cut both sides this time and see if it comes out in one go. Do be careful when messing with knives. Not 2 months ago, I sliced the end of my thumb open. Only just got the feeling back in it the last couple of days. Oh, look at that one. That one was so satisfying. Nice. So then we can position our gears in there. Now I think with this one would need to be hot glued in. Yeah, definitely needs to be hot glued in. So we'll put that one to aside for the time being, and we'll make one of the small ones. And then once we get the glue all together later, we'll put them all together. So we're going to show how to make one with the Pico Z. So if you've got a Pico Z lying round, this is what we want next. With this template, I'm going to be uploading this template to the internet as well. We're just going to cut round a much smaller template this time. Here we go. This one should be a lot quicker to make because they're a lot smaller. Put that fan back on. It's getting a bit warm in here. All right. Just lightly go around the template, and then we'll block in the actual lines. I also didn't know, I've just finished watching Curry Kitten's Oddball competition. I didn't know Jack had made his Mavic, not a Mavic. And I definitely need to go and watch that video after this because, yeah, that looked seriously interesting. I didn't know you'd done that, Jack. So if you see this, I'm very impressed with that, matey. So then, there we go. We just got that to cut around now. Nice shallow angle. Cut around the outsides first. Don't do the little detail bits because they're easier to cut when they're away from a big chunk of foam board. There we go. Pull away. Swish it like that. So sorry, I did think I was going to go through the build. build utensils before I started the video, but there was all that hoo-ha about I couldn't get my camera working. So the build utensils you're going to need is some sort of X-Acto knife, a Pico Z or a Pico Z copy. You're going to need yourself some foam board, cardboard, or card paper, and some sellotape. And then if you that's all you need to basically make what it looked like a Black Hornet UAV. If you want to go the next whole hog, you need to go and get yourself a micro FPV camera or ultra micro FPV camera. And yeah, you need to stick that up front, find a way of powering it up. There's no way you're going to get that to be powered up by this one cell. So you either need to make a separate battery or you need to put a 2 cell in there and then wire it up it'd have to be wired up in series. One set of wires going to the main board, one set of wires going to the camera. But yeah, that's all you basically need. And then if you want, like my original video, I made it looked like an army helicopter. You're going to need yourself some paints, paint brushes, or what I use is just a simple air can with an airbrush kit, a really, really cheap airbrush kit, which I got for £15. But we need to now mirror this template, so we'll go around that again on foam board. It's so mental doing this on really old scraps of foam board. Because normally I just go out and buy some brand new stuff and just start hacking at it, but that's not an option today, unfortunately. All right. Let's start cutting. Do you know what? I'm really excited about this one because it's looking smoother than my original build. My original build was hacked together because the knife I used was blunt. These are brand new knives. Oh, yeah. Cutting through it like butter. Okay. Oh, please, coming together. Let's cut that little front bit there. There we go. Now, I think that's a little bit thicker than that one, so we need to go around the edges on that and mirror properly. Because if you don't get these perfectly, they don't meet up in the middle with the sellotape, you have all sorts of problems. There you go. Yes. So there we go. We've got 2 halves. Now, the next idea, exactly what I showed you with the other one, we need to take our Pico Z and we need to gently, very, very gently, figure out where first figure out where your shaft and everything's going to go. So it's going to be round about there. And then just gently push, very, very gently push your gear into the foam board, make an impression. Like that. And you also need to figure out how wide the gear needs to be. There we go. Get your X-Acto knife and cut it out. Pull the blade in a little bit there. Hope this gets cut properly. Ask Jack about the shafts. There we go. We've got our hole cut out. Now, if you want to, I would advise, like, see a bit of papers come off there. That's no problem. Oh, that's that's so satisfying. Pull the inside paper off. I don't think you realise the paper on the outside of flight test foam board is really, really not really heavy, But when you're talking about sub-micro things like this, where we're relying on a one-cell battery and a brushed motor to try and lift something up on the air, every microgram counts. And yeah, that bit of paper there, that's probably, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 grams, something like it's it weighs a fair dinkum bit of what it actually is. So you need to decide this is obviously, we've now decided that's our right sheet. So this is now going to be our left sheet. So we need to take the right side off, so the inside piece off, because you want the outside piece in case you want to paint it later. If you use any kind of paint on this foam, especially with anything abrasive, it just not abrasive, corrosive. Sorry, corrosive. It just starts eating into the foam. So yeah, make sure you either keep some waterproof paper out on the outside, or don't use anything with it, anything corrosive like spray paint or airbrush or anything like that. And then we need to mirror this hole on this side of the side frame. Right, we haven't pushed all the foam out there. Why not? There we go. Put that, line that up with that, line that up with that. Also, if you like to get some sandpaper together, that's you can make these very, very tidy with sandpaper if you sit there for half an hour and just go around all the edges, just make them absolutely sublime. Here we go. But do stick around for Mini Airshow 6 today, guys. I think we're going all the way up to 10 p.m. It's either 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. I'm pretty sure it's 10 p.m. You'll have to ask Andrew/Frank for that. But yeah, stick around with us, because there's going to be a lot of fun happening today. It's not just me. It's not just everyone else. There's all sorts of things happening because we can't actually be at Popham Airfield. Oh no, the foam board came off the front. Have we got any glue? We haven't. Do you know what? I'll patch that up with sellotape in a bit. I'll patch that up with sellotape. That's fine. Oh, I had sellotape. Where's the sellotape now? I brought everything up. No, I didn't bring sellotape up. Apparently, I'm gonna need it. I must have brought the sellotape up because it's not downstairs. There it is, right by me the whole time. So the next job, to get your sellotape ready. And then simply we are going to sandwich both of these together. Sorry, it took me a while to say that. I was trying to concentrate on not cutting my fingers. So basically, I'm going to sandwich both of these together around the outside of the helicopter. And if you wanted to, you could make it a little bit bigger, because I've noticed the actual Black Hornet has it's sort of like a 45-degree bevel angle here at the bottom. I think this is where the battery. This is the actual battery of the Black Hornet, where they can change a new battery out, in a split second like that if they want to. But I'm pretty sure that's what that does. But this is just made out of foam board, so it's only to fool the mind into thinking it's a Black Hornet. There we go. we just want to start placing all your electronics round to make sure that they're going to fit. And then we're going to make a front hatch here where our camera is going to go. There we go. Battery stays there. Ow. Nice. Now I think it wasn't this wide last time, so I think I can do foam all the way around. Just hold them there like that. So basically you've got a sandwich, your electronics inside these two foam board halves, and then you want to get your cello tape ready. Now I'd advise sort of making a few strips ready that you can just take them off when you're ready, because this bit starts to get tricky now. So you make sure your main important thing that you want to make your boom is on that center line, and then you can sort of work the helicopter around everything else. There's our boom on the center line. Sellotape around that and secure that in. Like that. And then you can shimmy everything around, but as long as that boom's on that center line, that's the main important thing. Because otherwise you don't know your orientation of your helicopter then. Because if your body is skew with to your actual helicopter, you're gonna be like, oh, why is it flying that way? Why is it flying that way? There we go. That's a lot thicker than the other one. How did I thin it down? I think, did I cut a recess out inside the actual foam? I think I did, you know. Push all that into the foam. Nice, yeah, there we go. Okay, so we've got a little bit thinner now, and then you basically need to use a least amount of sellotape that you can, because every microgram helps, keep this thing down to the ground. So you need to try and put a strip down here and a strip down here. There we go, right up to the shaft. Oh, that fan is not helping. There we go. There we go. And then the main important thing when you're working with foam and sellotape is just to push all the air bubbles out. As long as you get every single air bubble out, you're absolutely fine. There we go. That should hold that. Then we will cut that excess off at the front, because that's where our camera is going to be. And make sure you push this battery inside there before we do anything more. Now, what kind of time are we doing? Right, we got it's 10 to 4 now. I think I've got. I'll just check with Andrew. I'll just check with Andrew. I think I'm going over 5 or 6 minutes because I started 5 or 6 minutes late after Curry Kitten. But yeah, I'm sure we can get this done before that time's over anyway. I did want to try and paint it by the end of it, but never mind. We'll see if we can fly it as well. You basically just stick in sellotape around, sealing everything in. That's all it is. It's just foam and sellotape. Just like that. That's not working. A bit. It's not very sticky, this sellotape. Here we go. Oh yeah, this stuff's working a lot better now. Like that. Just push every single little air bubble out. Pull it together. Just like that. And just keep working your way around the outside of the helicopter until all the electronics are, you know, sealed off. And then because the sellotape seals everything off, you're pretty much safe to paint straight onto it. Other than, I just noticed with something we haven't done, which is something I did on the first model. There's a charge port on this side, which has the charge port and a switch. And I've covered it up, and I haven't made the hole for the charge port. We can sort this out. I'm sure we can sort this out. Right, there's the charge port there. So if we just draw around it there. We're just going to open it up with a knife. Be very, very careful. I can feel it. I can feel it under the foam, where it's solid and where it's not. So it's there. So make sure you don't do the same mistake that I did. If you build one of these, don't cover up the charge port. You need that to charge the helicopter and switch it on. So we'll cut that out very, very carefully with a small knife now. You just need to make sure you know where it is, because if you go too far, you're going to end up cutting your battery wires or your main board wires. That's where the switch ends there. And just start picking it out. There you go. Crisis averted. There we go. Charge port's open. So now we can carry on sealing it up with sellotape. Except for the front. We don't want to seal the front up yet because that's where our camera is going to go. It's not a pretty brick. I don't think any of my models are a pretty brick, Fraser. They're ugly ducklings. Very, very ugly ducklings. That most of the time don't fly neither. Just like ducklings. Ducklings don't fly. And neither do RCLabBotics' models. Keep sealing it up. All right. There we go. And then just push all the air bubbles out. Just keep going round. Thumbnail, I like. Just to push every single bit of bubble out of every little crease and crack. Like that. And then we're ready to make our front hatch for our camera. We'll just draw around the front of the helicopter, get our rough measurements of width and height. And then just chop that out. And you always, once again, chop outside the lines, because you can always chop, you know, more and more away. You can't add foam, but you can take foam away. Always. Yeah. So there we go. Start taking a bit more foam away until you basically end up with a foam square, and then take the inside of the foam off, because that, again, once again, is unneeded. And then where's our micro camera? I want to stick that around the back. So we've got a separate micro camera down here, which is super duper micro. I just want to cut this bit out here. There. This is what I used last time. I used the back end of a pen to make a hole in it. Like that. That works almost too well. And then you cut a little slit with a knife. And it should. Yeah, it does. It just pops out like a little hole. You know what? I've just broken that foam. Never mind. Got another piece off. Try that again. Got across this time and then just push it in. Ooh, it's a tight fit. Open up a bit more. Yes, very nice. And then just need to start taking away that so it fits inside the helicopter. How did I do this last time? Must have been a way that, unless did I make this? I think I know what I did. Put the foam block in first, and then I made the incision for the hole. Yeah, that's what I did. I put the foam block in first. Like that. Got it in with a bit of cello tape. Cello tape, cello tape. Where is the cello tape? There we go. I'm rushing this a bit, so it doesn't look the prettiest. That one that I've made. Oh no. I think this is rubbish sellotape. Don't buy your sellotape from the pound shop. That'll do. There we go. And there we have, oh, almost. There we have our finished Black Hornet UAV with sellotape sticking all over the place. Yeah, this sellotape's crap. Absolutely rubbish. One sec. One sec. I can fix this. Can't find the end now. Now I want to teach you a little trick. If you can't find the end of a sellotape, get your modeling knife and make an end. Make an end. Make your own end. I'm never buying sellotape from that shop ever again. Right, we got it now. No, we haven't. Oh dear. Right, we've got the end. I think we're coming to the end of the roll because this isn't even sticky. That is rubbish. So yeah, make sure you find some decent sellotape. I think we're coming to the end of my time here on Mini Airshow 6. But I hope you've enjoyed, watching me build a little Black Hornet UAV. We'll see if we can get it to fly. How many batteries lying around? Batteries. There we go. Thank you very much for joining us here at Mini Airshow 6. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you had as much fun as I did. I'm going to get this thing charged up now and then see if we can get it to fly and get some footage of it. If not, the sellotape might not hold up for that long. But thank you very much for joining us here. I've been Carl from RCLabBotics, and I'm not sure who's coming up next. I'm pretty sure it's probably either going to be Andrew / Frank or Corey Kitten. I'm not sure. I have got the timetable somewhere, but I've absolutely lost everything. There's just a whirlwind of sellotape and foam board and bits of different picos that I've got down here to try and get this one to work. So thank you very much for joining us today, guys, and I'll see you very, very soon.